when he hit that teenage phase, it especially hit me, I think it was like seventh grade, where my depression came, my anxiety came, my insecurities came, all that came. I remember in sixth grade, I like didn't really have the friends that I used to, or I didn't see them because of the lunchroom being so big and stuff like that. And I sat alone at one point. Like it's just 0-1. What is up, guys? This is me, K.M.B. Before we get on to this episode, I just got to announce this. Recently, there has been a clip of a comedian that was mocking a megachurch, and a lot of people are disclaiming that, oh, he's not mocking Jesus, he's mocking the megachurch and stuff like that. And a lot of people are even saying too the fact that it's, oh, if you get offended by this, that means you are the problem. Like basically saying that because you support a mega church and you thinking him mocking a mega church is wrong, you're the reason why. Me personally, I don't see you supporting a mega church as a wrong thing. There has been a lot of people that's been saved by mega churches and discovering Jesus, and I am one of those people. So me personally, I am actually a little offended that somebody can get away with mocking a mega church, or not even that. He can get away with mocking church basically because it's okay because he's a comedian and we're supposed to take everything as a joke and stuff like that. Okay, but when it comes to people that wanting to change and become a better person, I don't see that kind of stuff as funny. I will say this. I mean, those clips of how he was a pastor in the mega church, I will say that some churches do that, where they do the cool stunts and they do the smoking and stuff like that. Not smoking like that, but you know what I'm talking about. The smoke in the air and you coming in on with strings and stuff like that. I believe a pastor has done that in the past. And then there's those people that say like, "Oh, you can't do that in church. That is not church." I don't understand. There is no rule in the Bible that says that you are supposed to just stand there on a post and read the Bible. There is no rule that says that that is how church is supposed to be. I think it just depends on what's your cup of tea of church. But the fact what I'm getting at is the fact that this guy is getting away with mocking a mega church. Mocking mega churches, in my opinion. Basically saying that they're all for the money, yada yada yada. Okay, maybe some churches are like that. Okay, there is people out there that pastors have stolen money and they use it for their own use. Absolutely, that is not okay. Um, I like I said, I come from one, and they do. They ask for a lot of money, not a lot, but they do. They ask for money and they say all this and that, like, oh, it'll make you into a better person, yada yada yada. Some churches do that. I not only never said that line, but yes, churches do that. Um, I think me personally, if it's on your mind to give money to a church and give a lot, then give a lot. If it's on your mind to give money to a church, then give it. I think it does say give 10%. I think you should give 10%. Um, yeah, I mean you got to keep the lights on in Laura's house. And the end of the day, like I said before we get to this episode, I just got to say this though. I have been to a smaller church that's not a mega church, and they also ask for money. So this whole like thing about how mega churches are all for the money and this and that, like you go into any church, I mean they got to put the lights on in the building. At the end of the day, they have to also get money for mission trips for you to help out with others. That stuff's not free. There is no free handouts. Um, Even in Christianity, there's no free handouts. You go through challenges because Jesus wants you to learn and stuff like that. So, at the end of the day, if people know what I'm talking about with this video that I'm talking about, the guy mocking a mega church, mega churches, I do. I think it's wrong, honestly. But let's get back to the video, or let's get to the video, I should say, later or episode, whatever. All right, but let's go. What is up today? This is Real Talk with K.M.B. You guys already know who K.M.B. is. That's me. Today we are gonna talk about middle school. If you guys didn't check out the last episode, check it out. It's about elementary and how it feels so long ago. Cause honestly, it does. Cause it's now hitting me that this year is gonna hit the 10th year mark of when I graduated 8th grade. The fact that I was in 8th grade 10 years ago is blowing my mind. Like elementary, again, I said it before, it feels like a fever dream. I feel like it never happened because it just always felt so long ago. And now it's like, dude, middle school was a long time ago. Like that's what just it's blowing my mind that like that's why I'm making these episodes is because we're like life is just flying by without us even knowing it. So again, if you're watching this and you're like in high school and middle school, I know a lot of people say this. I'm gonna sound old and stuff like that because I know I'm only 24, but still, just don't rush. That's all I'm gonna say. Like just live in the moment as it is. I mean, yeah, of course, fantasize about the future and stuff like that, but don't complain about where you're at. Like just don't even stress about it. Just live in the moment. That's the best thing I can say. But we are going to talk about middle school, of course, and we're going to start off with 6th grade. Bro, 6th grade was different. I'm telling you. I remember entering middle school, and it felt like, if you ever seen Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I kid you not, it literally felt like that. 8th graders felt like they were like 6 feet tall. You're just like, dude, these people are enormous. You like thought like the functions were so different. You're like just everything was different. The fact that we don't have the same teachers throughout for the whole 8 hours of the day. The fact that we're going in different classes, we're seeing different people. It's just, and also too, one of the biggest mind blowings was in middle school is when people came from different elementaries. And then you're just like, oh, what elementary did you go to? Oh, you went there. My elementary was so much better. This and that. Like 6th grade was so different. And it was even blew your more of your mind is that the fact that when you were in 5th grade, you felt like the king of the school, and then you go into middle school and you're at the bottom again. You're a runt. Like it was the weirdest feeling, and you felt that. 6th grade was one of the best times that I had though. I remember I just I had some friends there. I had some good teachers. I had a crush on a teacher. I'm just gonna say that. As I said it before though, I was still on my ADHD medication. I think 6th grade probably would have been more fun if I was off of it. That's just my opinion. But besides the point though, I remember I liked a lot of my classes then. There were some classes that were boring, some of that. I thought the girls were pretty cute in middle school too. But besides the point, 6th grade was just also too. It was cool seeing the people from your elementary like in your middle school, and it's kind of crazy too. I remember being in 5th grade when I got so off subject there, but whatever. I remember being in 5th grade. We all talked about what middle schools we're gonna go to and stuff like that, and then you enter into middle school, and it's kind of like, yo, like I remember you from elementary. It just blows your mind though of how time flies because now we're rolling in 7th grade, right? 7th grade, you're literally in the middle, bro. Like you are the middle child. Like school does not care about you. 6th grade, they're babying you. 8th grade, they're preparing you for high school. 7th grade, they don't give a crap, dude. Honestly, like 7th grade was like all right in my opinion. I had some like some fond memories and stuff like that. But I don't know. Literally, you are the middle child in 7th grade. Um, Now we're rolling around 8th grade year. 8th grade year was one of my favorite years. You can ask my bro Jordan that's been on the pod. I'm sure you guys already know about him. That me and him we rocked 8th grade, dude. We were doing so much stupid stuff in that year. It's just insane that year. When people say 2016 was one of the best years, I will say this that's part of 2016, and that was a good time. So, long time ago, right? If I know it's embarrassing that I was 14 and I was still watching Disney Channel, but there was that show called Stuck in the Middle, right? If a lot of people don't know that Jenna Ortega actually starred in that show. That's actually how she got her acting gig. But she starred in that show or whatever, and I remember watching it, and her brothers in the show was doing this thing called the Ninja Challenge, where you couldn't touch the floor. So I brought it to Jordan, and then me and Jordan came up with this game in class, and we're like sliding on our binders, we're jumping on chairs and stuff like that. We're like trying to get to like the garbage or putting the paper on the floor. At one point, we're using like pieces of paper on the floor or whatever. Like at one point too, we were like so desperate where we could not even lay our like shoes on the floor while sitting down on the desk. At one point, so then we got other people to join it. It went so extreme where we had like, I don't know, 5 to 6 people playing this game. And it's like, man, that was fond memories, dude. Like that's what I kind of look back on. I'm like, well, okay, like that part, like I'm not I don't like school, right? I don't like the studying. I don't like the test taking. Some people are like that, where they like that. It's crazy. Some people like to learn. I will say this: the social aspect, you do kind of miss that. Like you do miss joking around and getting in trouble and stuff like that. At one point, they had to ban that game from classes. I kid you not. I brought that game, or me and my friend did. We brought that game to it, and the fact that we had it banned from the classes, it just blows my mind that we started a trend. Um. So, but besides the point, though, I remember also too at lunch we used to do the jalapeno challenge, where you can see how many jalapenos you can stuff in your mouth or eat at one time. Like that lunch table 8th grade year was a blast, dude. I had such a good friend group. I remember we used to stay after school. It's gonna sound nerdy, but we used to do the Minecraft club. Yeah, yeah. Does not sound cool, but at the same time, it was still fun. Let's be honest, we all played Minecraft back then. If you say you didn't, you must have lived under a box or under a rock. I meant lived in a box or lived under a rock. Okay, but besides the point, middle school is a good time for me. I actually really do miss middle school. We're gonna talk about high school later and stuff like that, but I do. I miss those fun memories. I miss of the socializing aspect. I miss that the fact that we were all immature and stuff like that, and we all knew we were immature. Um, Now though, I'm gonna say this though. I'm talking about it more on my testimony video, but middle school time was one of the weirdest times. You're hitting puberty, so you're going through a lot, right? So when you hit that teenage phase, it especially hit me. I think it was like 7th grade where my depression came, my anxiety came, my insecurities came, all that came. I remember in 6th grade, I like didn't really have the friends that I used to, or I didn't see them because of the lunchroom being so big and stuff like that. And I sat alone at one point. Like it's that kind of thing that just like gets in your mind. The insecurities, the you just don't know how to be you anymore, and it does. It changes you so much, and that is the hardest part about middle school is that you're going through those changes. Um, and you don't know who to talk to because it's like you don't want to embarrass yourself. You don't want to talk to an adult because you feel like adults don't relate, and then you don't want to talk to your friends about it because you don't want to get made fun of. So again, it's just like all that stuff is just running through your mind, and it's growing you as a person or changing you as a person, and it's weird to think about. Yeah. Middle school though, like I said, to me personally, I think movies should focus more on middle school and having kids just being kids in it. Also, too, I forgot to mention this though, but in middle school, the weekends were one of the funnest weekends, honestly. Like you still were at that stage when you guys like were having sleepovers and you guys were playing video games all night and you guys were ding dong ditching and stuff like that. Like you guys were just immature, you guys were kids, you guys just like your guys' minds were everywhere. You still had imagination. I think it's also crazy too when you're going through that era, that middle school era, that you have two types of people. You have the people that are still immature. You still have those kids that don't want to grow up. And I'll admit it, I was one of them. I wanted to still use my imagination. I still wanted to, I'll admit it, still play hide and seek and stuff like that, and still play with Nerf guns and all that. It's embarrassing to say it, but I'll admit it, I was that kid. But then we also have those kids that wanted to be in relationships, and we had those people. I know some people that had sex in middle school. Like, and I'm over here like, oh, I'm gonna go run around with friends and play tag or some bull crap like that. Like, it's just, it's also too, it's weird though that again you being in sixth grade to compared to you being in eighth grade, it is so different, and it should be as it should. But I remember me and my friends growing up in our neighborhood. We were all around the same age. We used to play this thing called Ghost in Graveyard, and it used to be the funnest time in the summer to do that. Once it got dark is when it was fun, dude. We played for like 2 hours of it, just us running around and having fun. But I remember it was around eighth grade year, I swear, or maybe going into eighth grade year. But I just remember our last game of it, and it was around middle school time. Your friends also fade away during middle school too. Your elementary friends, they fade away. You start becoming more friends with other people because you're having classes with those people. You start joining clubs, and then your old friends from elementary aren't into that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You find new interests and stuff like that. You find new people, and it kind of ruins friendships sometimes. Sometimes though, I met a lot of cool people in middle school. I've always been a social butterfly. Honestly, again, I met my really close friend Jordan in middle school. Okay, like, and it can be pretty cliquey there. I feel like elementary still cliquey, but it's not as cliquey as middle school. Just wait till high school. That's a whole different story. But again, like I was saying though, is like it's just so different compared to elementary. You're a kid, okay? You have to think that in middle school, sixth grade, you start off as a kid, and then you end as a teenager. That is weird to think about, honestly. I know some people, like, I was one of those kids, though, that, like, in sixth grade, I started off when I was 12. And then eighth grade, I ended when I was 14. I know some people that are the opposite, where they start off when they're 11 in sixth grade, and then they end when they're, like, 13 in eighth grade. I think that blows my mind that you're 14 years old entering freshman year. But still. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just gonna say it. Okay, I knew this person. I'm just gonna say person. I'm gonna say the gender. Knew this person in middle school that like turned 15, like eighth grade year, and they used to brag about that. And now, kind of looking on it, like I don't think that's something to brag about. Like bragging that you're 15 or eighth grade year, but that's just me. Then again, though, I bragged about being in kindergarten twice, so I'm no one to talk. But besides the point, and since, this is, I feel like me personally, I am a Christian content creator, or I'm trying to be one. Was I still strong in my faith in eighth grade year? I remember every night I used to pray for things to get better. That is when so much was going on at home. I remember like praying for things to get better, and thank God they did. God knew what he was doing. I was going through so much up here at the time, battling demons. Of course it did get worse during high school, but that's next episode. But besides the point, I hope you guys really like this episode. It was very enjoy making. I hope you guys can't wait for next week's. So, see you.